Hey, welcome back to Blockchain Basement, where we talk about if Pitch Perfect was a good movie or not. Let us know in the chat what you think. Actually, if you could do me a favor and pull that big screen over, watch the chords on the ground.
It's TJ's favorite movie.
No, I was telling him before the stream, it's one of my guilty pleasure favorite movies because I have seen it a lot. I'm a sucker for a music movie, for those of you who don't know. I don't care if it's Walk the Line, whatever that one Lady Gaga did with, what's his name? The Temptations special that used to run on VH1, and you'd watch it at like 11 and think you were going to bed, but it was 7 hours long, so you're watching it till 4 in the morning. All of those. I've seen them all. I love them.
I miss Behind the Music.
Behind the Music, yeah, Unplugged, you know, all that stuff they used to do. Yeah. Wow. So anyway, welcome to Blockchain Basement, where we do hang out. We don't talk about movies. We talk about crypto, and golly, we had a lot to talk about today, or just this week in general. I'm just kind of echoing this meme Kobe posted this morning. It's the first thing I saw when I opened crypto Twitter today, and it's just like, yeah, that's how I feel doing all this digging, because every time I think it's gonna stop, it just doesn't. Like, this FTX stuff gets crazier and crazier. You keep digging and digging. Razzmatazz, and I knew what you stayed in my head for a reason. Corey, it's okay to call them musicals. TJ, I love them too. Oh no, don't call them musicals. Yeah, I get in a lot of trouble for that. So. Hey, 3D Moulin Rouge. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, don't get me started. I've seen a lot of plays too. So Ben always makes fun of me for knowing about musical theater. Allie never even knew anything about Hamilton. I had to give her a whole history lesson. So
he sings the songs all the time.
Not all the time,
word.
just when they come on. Like, I don't know every word. I know a lot of the words. It's good songs. Come on, if you don't appreciate music. And is it just blurred out here? Like, are we in focus?
I was just looking at that same thing
On your screen, BJ?
Might be a little fuzzy.
Okay, well, perfect. If you guys think we're out of focus, just get glasses. So yeah, it keeps getting crazier and crazier with FTX. It never seems like it's gonna stop. We've got the number one story of today. Let's see. Oh, well, yeah, we'll get into that too. Number one story today is Genesis halting trading for its lending arm following the FTX collapse, which Genesis, this is a major thing, and it does affect Gemini, which we'll get into in a minute. But I did, well, first of all, let me just go around and take a pulse of the room. You know, Frankie Candle's one of our top traders here, and, you know, runs a huge trading channel. How are you feeling trading this past week or so with all the craziness? Oh, and Candle Mafia won the Femex trading competition.
Yes.
Don't always have to shout that out. No, you know, don't.
Yes, I'm gonna shout that out until somebody, until
the next competition.
Yeah, until the next one, which is coming soon. But yeah, until people really start getting mad, I'm gonna milk that. Shout out to the Candle Mafia. But
this was good
it's been interesting. You know, I actually, my most recent trades, I was in a long and a short. I actually just closed my short out for over 50% profit this morning, and I am still holding my long because there are a few things on the charts that are a little bit alarming. So, you know, it's actually been pretty good trading. We've been crushing it on the channel and in the Discord. Super good trading. I mean, sometimes the charts are much more clear sometimes than others, and right now it's just, you know, when you get those short signals, they've just been very reliable. And you know, we after that big dump that we just had, we actually caught the bottom live on my stream. I put the long in live on stream, and it wound up playing great. And then we shorted once we thought the move was finished. We shorted the top, and that is the trade I'm in now, just trying to ride it down to the bottom here, which I think could be coming.
Cleared some pretty good profits on those?
Yeah, for sure.
So what is TJ doing? Guys, I'm trying to Instagram a story out so we can get more people in the stream. You know, I'm always working. So Drew, you've obviously been on the cutting edge. You help set up the live stream every day, coming in, reading this news. Yeah. Like, what's kind of your general sentiment at this point? Like, it feels like it's just never going to stop. We're almost 2-ish weeks into this stuff. Like, how has your feelings been so far? And welcome to the Ava Tree, first-time basementer. We love it in here. And then a first-time chatter, Stacy Lee, been watching videos for the past week, but first time actually catching the live stream. That's right. If you guys are seeing this other places, in order to get in here and get in the chat and get involved with the actual show and be a part of it, you got to be watching on Twitch because that's where we do the live. So there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Drew, take it away.
Yeah, and you know, like when I saw the original list, I think it was like 130 firms. Genesis was on it that were directly exposed. FTX. I went screaming into Tim's office immediately and was freaking out about Genesis like 3 days ago. Sentiment at the time was like, it'll probably be all right, just slight exposure. I really would not trust any exchange right now. I have pulled the little amount that I did have remaining on exchanges off, and I think that we're going to see more and more unravelings of firms that are involved with this really widespread situation. It's not, immediately all over mainstream media, the big firms that do have exposure to it yet, but we will see more of that. I'm kind of surprised that we're hanging out at like 16.
Yeah.
Well,
like, we're going to get to that at the end.
Why?
Stick around for the end of the show because we've got some really big, and this is why I wanted to have Frank in here, some really, really big volume trading accounts talking about how it's starting to feel like bottom is in, or we're close enough because we're not getting big reactions off of this news like you mentioned.
I expected a lot more downside action from it. But yeah, the Genesis lending, I think it's the Genesis lending program specifically within Gemini.
Right.
Is having the issues. I do feel that the concern that will be heard across mainstream media will push more and more people to pull off, and then you might actually see something wrong with the actual Gemini program after that.
We'll talk about this a little bit more. So right now, I was just pulling up the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index just out of curiosity. 23 is where it's hanging out right now. We've seen it go as low as 11, I believe, in the past. So
we saw it 5.
Yeah, so extreme fear 23, 22, 29. It's holding pretty well, all things considered. I wonder if there's a...
This looks like confidence to me compared to what I saw in the markets during Luna. Like, I'm amazed that that's still above 20.
Yeah, and so just to be clear, to clarify what Drew was saying, if you are using Gemini, they did go down briefly today. I think it was due to the news coming out about Genesis. They did make an announcement, Gemini Earn. If you're in the Earn program of their exchange, you're not going to be getting paid back with the returns that you're supposed to be earning. You're not going to be able to withdraw them within 5 days like you're supposed to. TJ getting some gold. I hang out with my brother for that. So that's what caused that run. Then everybody rushed to Gemini, and I think that's what caused their websites to go down. They came out and made a statement. It was an issue with their AWS, their Amazon Web Server, where it was being hosted. It did come back up. That being said, be extremely careful. I had a call with my brother just last night. He was asking me, should I be worried about my funds on Gemini? I said, I think I trust Gemini. I think I trust Coinbase. I think I trust Binance. That being said, I know I set you up a wallet. I know I showed you how to self-custody some stuff. It's right there. Just transfer it off. Yeah. Like there's no upside in keeping it there if it's a long-term hold thing, if you're not trading, put it in self-custody. We've given you tons and tons of videos about doing it. It's all over the internet right now. I don't care if you look at this channel or any other channel. It's really not that hard. If you have the technical capability to download an app and go purchase crypto, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever coin you're holding, you have the technical understanding on how to run a software wallet. You don't have to go as far as the ledger. Oh, we're still here. You don't have to go as far as the ledger. You don't have to, I know a lot of people feel like you do, and I'm not saying not to, but running a self-custodying on a software wallet is still leaps and bounds better than leaving it on an exchange. So we're going to play some videos today because I thought it was fun kind of watching that guy's video about Silvergate yesterday. We're going to play this video. So I showed you what I woke up to on CT yesterday. This is what I went to sleep to just last night with, or maybe not went to sleep to, but right before I went to bed. This was Portnoy's reaction to SBF's tweets. Like we've been covering that little cryptic thread that he's been putting together, which there's side theories on almost every single thing that's happening right now. It's crazy to pick which rabbit hole. There's this whole thing about Twitter delete bots or whatever, where like if you send a tweet out, you can instantly send 2 tweets behind it, but the last 2 get deleted within less than a 0.1 second or something like that. So it can be a cryptic way to send messages, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if any of that's true or not true. The whole thing is just bizarre, but this was Portnoy's reaction. Oh yeah. Okay. Perfect. And then we'll see. Hopefully this volume works here. Hopefully you guys can hear it. We can hear it. And then we'll see. Hopefully this volume works here. That was me. Echo. No, that was my Twitch. I had to mute when I had unmuted my computer. So trippy land. All right, here we go. And this is not nearly as kid friendly as the morning show. I will warn you.
Morning.
Listen, I'm out here in Toledo, God's country. I gotta do a quick rant. Keep it quick. This guy, Sam Bingy Fried, is one of the great fucking pieces of shit of all time. It's not just that FTX has collapsed and Alameda and he's just the biggest. It's the way he's tweeting. Hi, y'all. Hi, y'all. It's fucking Sam the Afro fucking piece of shit. Hi, y'all. Hi, guys. And then a 10 fucking thread code tweet like, well, I don't really know what happened. And then his interview in the New York Times, he's like, I'm just going to play video games. I'm surprisingly having no problem sleeping. Yeah, we screwed up. I guess we got no money. At least that's what people say. Bye, guys. Sorry, lost your all money. Meanwhile, this fucking guy lives in like, like brothel in the Bahamas with like 10, 15 people who run FTX. They're all fucking each other. All these MIT nerds. He's like the #2 donation guy to Biden. His fucking father or something is working with the SEC on legislation. What is going on? Hi, y'all. It's Sammy Bing Bing Bing. Freed, Afro. I'm so cute. Tweet, H. I lost all your fucking money. Drag this fucking clown out of there. Like, I didn't have any money in FTX. I'm lucky. I was in Gemini. But if I lost like $1 million or people lose their life savings, say, hi, y'all. He's acting, I'm just playing video games and I'm winding. I'm actually not that upset. People say we're going out of business. Maybe. Oh, hi, guys. I guess this buck stuff. Fuck this fucking guy. And by the way, how is this guy, how are people not mentioned? Imagine I can't breathe without people criticizing it. This fucking guy's living in an apartment with like the entire company on the top floor, just running a fuck fest, like Bang Bros, running FTX, stealing people's money. Hi guys, it's Sam. Fuck this guy. Get this guy out of there. Drag him through the streets.
Yeah, so I feel like that pretty well echoed how a lot of people were feeling, like their emotions. There's, like reading that thread, just you could feel CT just getting more and more angry with every single tweet that would come out. And I just felt like that was a pretty good representation of probably how a lot of us are feeling. And I feel the same way. We didn't lose any money. Oh, this is coming next. If you guys haven't seen this one, this is a great one. The crypto cringe compilation. We were going to show it on the morning stream. We just ran out of time, but I was feeling kind of the same way where it's like, I don't have any money on FTX. We told a lot of people to take their funds off there. We ran a poll on our channel yesterday. 90% of the Bit Squad had no funds in FTT or FTX. So we really are proud of that. But it is frustrating to see him running around. Like, I think he said it well at the end. Like, Portnoy, he said, I can't breathe without regulators, without scrutiny, without people coming after me, asking me why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that, justify this, give me disclosures for that. Where meanwhile, this guy's running an insanely out of whack businesses losing billions of dollars. Yeah, the worst news today is the alleged sex tape we were talking about. That's really what we were talking about right before the show. BJ's he's researching that. We've got, like I was saying, there's all these different narratives. I was going down the follow the money Silvergate Bank thing that we were talking about yesterday. Ben's going down. We've got a lot of information about this money that went to Iraq, and strangely, the day that starts coming out, they need to send another $40 billion over there, immediate aid,
Iraq is so last decade. It's Ukraine now. That's the new hot.
Oh, did I say Iraq?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Call me Joe Biden. He doesn't know what war we're in.
They all
either.
kind of meld together at this point. We've been at war for 25 years.
I guess you have to give him some slack.
Yeah.
I just made the same mistake. So yeah, Ukraine, all this money over in Ukraine. He's going down that rabbit hole. Then there's the sex polycule rabbit hole that DZ's been going down.
Going down that on that.
Oh.
Sam's going down all kinds of holes. They were talking about him not eating meat because he's a vegetarian. He's
looks
they were
like a
saying in the
hungry
chat
boy.
today he lives in an apartment that's a sex circle and 10 of them are dudes. He's eating some meat. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So speaking
Hey,
of,
we don't kink shame in the basement.
no, that's right. Twitch, you're not allowed to do any of that kind
We're
of
just
stuff.
saying he ain't going hungry,
What's that?
He's just not going hungry,
Mm-mm.
Okay.
He's eating more than just cucumbers.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
days.
that's right.
Yeah. So I'll get rid of this. That's how I'm feeling. I'm just tired. I'm tired of all this stuff. We'll get into this cringe session and react to that. I mean, do you kind of, does anybody feel pretty similar to Portnoy? You guys feel like that's a pretty accurate representation?
I have to say, I'll be honest, like Portnoy has grown on me. I actually hated him at first. I don't know why. I probably saw some video, thought he was annoying, but he grew on me a lot. And that video turned me into a fan. Yeah. That video,
I was dying last night.
Yeah,
that.
that's like my spirit animal.
Same here. I used to find him pretty annoying as well, and yeah, I laughed pretty hard at that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired and sad about the whole situation, but I'm trying to find the silver lining that the Bitcoin maxi in
Oh
me
no, it
has been
sounds like it was a
reawakened.
pretty white lining.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bitcoin maxi in me has been reawakened by. Thankfully, I wasn't too spread out, but yeah, I don't know. This is really questionable what's going on with SBF and the entire empire he was able to build at breakneck speeds. No oversight, no regulation. Larry Ellison's right in there with his daughter, connected to Gary Gensler, and yet Gary Gensler's still attacking one of the main projects in this.
Where did that story? I had a story on that this morning about like what you guys are talking about in this. Somebody in the chat was saying something about them making synthetic assets to short different projects, mainly GME and AMC. That story did come out. I don't remember where I put it. I might have to look around and find it. But yeah, it's been pretty amazing. To your point, Drew, I did see a lot of accounts saying this collapse most definitely created some new Bitcoin maximalists. Yeah. And if you weren't a Bitcoin maxi before, not saying. All right, I got to be careful how I say this. If you weren't extremely pro Bitcoin or Bitcoin, a lot of the Bitcoin only people obviously are feeling pretty good. That being said, DeFi has come out of this as a big winner, and I'm a big advocate for the role DeFi has played in this as well. And there really isn't a lot of DeFi on Bitcoin. So there's a difference between being pro Bitcoin and what I like to say is I'm maximalish. I'm extremely biased towards Bitcoin, and I'm going to be extremely skeptical of a lot of other projects. I'm gonna have to dig into them a lot before I say like, okay, this is something different and interesting. It's not just a recycle of something that somebody came out with before and they're just doing the same thing over and over and over. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some projects that have some interesting technology coming out with them. Somebody said they're an HBAR maxi like that. Absolutely. That's fine. I understand. Like you can get into other projects that have some interesting technology. But I think what we're all seeing is there's industry's a lot further out than we thought. It's not going to happen at the pace that we all thought it was going to be. And a lot of what's going on right now is fake and is fraud. And when we wash all the fake and the fraud stuff out, there's really not that much to choose from. So I would say choose wisely, but for me, it's pretty clear right now.
And I like this question and this name, Satoshi Glakamoto. Any clue on how many and or what projects gave the FTX their source code? Like, even though I'm like a Cardano maxi, wasn't Alameda heavily involved with Sunday Swap? Like what other projects? Yeah,
they're involved in a lot of different projects. I mean, I think there is a full published list that was about 200 and something projects they had exposure to. What he's referring to is in the morning show, Hussein was asking when they signed with Alameda, they asked for full copy of the source code of New Genesis, that project. So we don't know how many projects they had full access to their source code to, which would allow them to basically copy, paste, and recreate different ideas. Now, he said they gave them an abbreviated version. A lot of those type of details are still being uncovered. We do know they were pushing projects to hold a lot of their treasuries on there, which allowed them to manipulate things a lot of different ways with what they were talking about with those synthetic tokens, where you don't know which ones are real and which ones are just held on the exchange. And there's no real liquidity behind it. They're just kind of fake tokens, but they use those tokens, basically illiquid tokens, to get collateral, which Michael Saylor explains a little bit more as well. So the list goes on and on. I mean, we know some big ones. ICP is definitely a big one. Reef was another big one. And then a lot of other smaller ones as well. We're going to be doing more interviews on BitBoy Live morning show that will kind of detail what happened with different coins. But basically, the way they would work between Liquid, market making exchange, Alameda, the kind of, or an Alameda, was it ventures or investments? They would invest in things, and then it was a three-way, no pun intended, between FTX, Liquid, and Alameda, where Liquid, you'd go to list with Liquid. Alameda would push, okay, if you're going to list with Liquid, great, we're going to be your market maker, we're going to give you liquidity, but we want you to put your treasury on FTX. FTX would then just take those coins on that treasury, send it right back to Alameda, and then they could manipulate all those prices over and over and over, rinse and repeat, which we've covered a decent amount on here before. So this is just another lull video, because this is the basement. This is where we come to have fun. And at this point, I think we're all a little tired. And if you can't just laugh a little bit at all of this, then, I mean, get mad first. Isn't that something, bargaining, fear, laughter, acceptance. I think we're at the acceptance stage at this point. So.
We're at the comedic relief stage.
Yeah, it's like we might as well just enjoy it. So here is a crypto cringe compilation of this whole situation. Basically, of all the social media. Ben is definitely featured in here in the middle. It's pretty funny. So,
Sam. Hi, my name is Sam, and this is my story.
What's up, guys? I'm here with my boy Sam from FTX.
Being comfortable with risk is very important.
Why don't you buy a Lamborghini, man?
Didn't have any particular need for one.
Use a lot of like elementary school math.
The most generous billionaire in the world. Sam has crazy hair. Sam is vegan. Sam sleeps 5 hours a night. Sam has $22 billion.
A lot of people think this is how you mine Bitcoin, but you don't need a flamethrower. You just need FTX.
Be Bitcoin.
He needs a lot more than FTX these days.
I got you, Sam. I got you, Sam. I know you didn't think that, you know. Well, I guess you thought I was just kidding when I said get ready. No, bud. No. Hey, I know everything. I may know more than Caroline, to be honest with you.
It's not the first time I've made a bad investment. Probably not the last time. But luckily, I make more good ones than bad ones.
I just want to let you know, jail's not that bad. It's not the worst thing ever.
Sam?
100% of the time when I meet a person who has lots of money and is very, very frugal with their lifestyle, they are not a good person. 100% of the time. But I know people with lots of money and they sit there and they want to drive an old Toyota Corolla, or they're very frugal, they talk about investing, and they save money. These people are always fucking weirdos.
Gosh, this is so bad.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. I feel like that was a political campaign.
That was better than I expected, I'll be honest.
I mean, like, I feel like I was in 2024 watching everyone getting ready for the big one.
Yeah.
I have a question. Can anyone explain why he's not in jail?
Donations.
Friends in high places.
Yeah, friends in high places. In my opinion, we are governed by tyrants at this point. And we need to do a lot of work to change that. And it's not going to be pretty, and there will be growing pains. That's my personal opinion.
That screen grab from that scene from Wolf of Wall Street where he's crawling on his hands and knees. That's my favorite one right there.
Dave says, how can a vegan who uses so much speed all the time be so fat? Yeah.
Can't get those moobs out of my head.
Yeah, the moobs are not good. The moobs are not good.
Yeah, and it just did break officially, you know, like last week. So there might be a hope.
Yeah, so
that
supposedly some of the news I said this. So part of the issue is not in the United States. He's been in the Bahamas, so you can't just walk in and arrest him. You got to do some extradition, that sort of stuff. But you'd think the Bahamian government would just take him into custody almost immediately. But he does seem to have some pretty good insulation in place. But the breaking news
we've
as
seen
of
the moobs.
Yeah, exactly. The breaking news as of this morning was, I think the U.S. Senate committee is supposed to be holding a hearing with FTX.
Yeah.
But it starts getting really complicated now. They're holding the hearing with FTX. Sam is no longer the CEO of FTX, and from what we're hearing, even though he's, believe this, he is still trying to raise funds. He does still think he can save this and make customers whole, according to him, according to his own tweet threads. But from what we're hearing, FTX Insiders saying he has no communication with the team whatsoever anymore. He's completely isolated, and anything he's doing is on his own accord. It's not part of the direction FTX is heading right now. So
more like FT sex.
Got him.
A question from the chat. 3Doc said, first time in the basement, what's your thoughts on ICP?
I like it.
Really? Okay, what do you like about it, Drew?
I just thought that it had a really good team behind it, had a really good use case. I didn't buy a bunch of it when it first came out. I bought it at like
because it so just for those who don't know, ICP got a really bad rap because it absolutely got destroyed on launch, which we're hearing now was completely the doing of Alameda.
Yeah. And that was actually good because I thought it failed for bad technology and stuff.
Right.
And to find out that there was actually arbitrage going on, which is what caused that. I picked some more back up. I counted my losses, let go of the high numbers. I sold it like $100 or something like that, and I just re-entered it $4. You know, because it's still a potential dark horse for me in the next run. That's what my opinion is.
And just real quick, here's a quick summary. Yeah, I agree. ICP, interesting project. I wouldn't be going too hard on anything right now. especially that Alameda's been involved with. Here's just a quick overview of what we've been going through this bear market. Products that are bankrupt, all of you know, Celsius. BlockFi is the big one that's been tied up in this, that was getting a lot of heat. You know, that's where a lot of people had a lot of money. FTX, obviously, Voyager, Gemini, Earn, and Genesis, which we're about to touch on, products that are working. So, look, centralized. Yes. Products that are working fine. Uniswap, DeFi exchange, Yearn, DeFi, Maker, DeFi, Aave, DeFi, Lido, DeFi, Curve, DeFi. So if this right here doesn't show DeFi is stronger than TradeFi or CeFi or whatever you want to call it, then I don't know what will convince you. But this to me is the biggest endorsement that DeFi is where we need to be moving. Ironically, the regulators were working with FTX to try to basically outlaw DeFi in the United States and make almost all trading go through centralized exchanges that are extremely opaque, and it's very hard to know what's going on behind the scenes. So very glad we were able to foil that plan before it was actually passed into law. They said Zelensky gave Sam money to give back to Democrats. There's a lot of information down that rabbit hole. So, you know, do your own research, figure it out, because it could be true. Genesis, so this is the leading story of the day. Genesis crypto leading unit is halting customer withdrawals in the wake of the FTX collapse. For those of you who don't know, Genesis is the lending arm of crypto investment bank Genesis Global. Trading is temporarily suspending redemptions on the new loan originations, meaning they're not giving new loans out. Now, they are still trading, and you know that's still open, but their main thing they did was issue loans. The unit known as Genesis Global Capital serves an institutional client base and had $2.8 billion in total active loans as of the end of the third quarter. We do know, obviously, a lot of those loans were to FTX or Alameda, who are now insolvent. And the fallout from that is this: breaking Contagion spreads further. Gemini Earn just halted withdrawals as they were partnered with Genesis Trading. So this, for those of you that are using the Gemini, and this is what caused a lot of fear this morning and what caused their exchange to go down. So they came out with this statement early, and they were working with the Genesis team to help customers redeem their funds from the Earn program as quickly as possible. We provide more information in the coming days. So you're supposed to be able to, and there was a couple other statements on this. I forget what SLA stands for, but it's basically
service level agreement.
There you go. Service level agreement. They have a service level agreement in place in their Earn program that says you should be able to withdraw your rewards within 5 business days. Obviously, that's being slowed down now. Riddled with puns. AJ is, I think he's overdoing something for BitLab Academy today. So we rotate people around. You know, everybody doesn't have time to be here every day, but we try to keep some semblance of.
He got a haircut though.
Yeah,
you won't even recognize him.
Yeah,
you see him again.
He does look like a totally different person. So whoever was giving him a hard time it was yesterday. Somebody said it in the chat. I saw that was giving him a hard time for not getting a haircut. I guess it hurt his feelings. He went and got a haircut. So tell TJ to come to the club H bar if he's got thick skin. Well, where's it at? Send me the address. I'll come hang out at Club H Bar.
So somebody said they want to assemble the Bit Squad to head over to the Bahamas and hunt SBF. SEAL Team Sats.
Yeah, well, we talked about doing that. Fun fact: we are doing a cruise. I think it's in April with the Pluto Alliance and kind of a community cruise. One of the stops is in the Bahamas, so might have to do a little excursion that day.
Pull up. Hey, Drew, isn't this your background?
What's my background?
Finding people.
Well, yeah, it is.
It is? You're a bounty hunter?
I was a headhunter in construction and cannabis production. But yeah, not the type of bounty hunter you think of.
I'm telling you, man, he's your friendly neighbor, but he's got secrets. You know, like his lawn's always cut, but he might be running someone down at 3 a.m. and you don't know it. So just keep an eye on that. Yeah. So Genesis is, I believe it's part of Digital Currency Group, as far as I know, and it's attached to Grayscale. So there are Digital Currency Group, another huge behemoth in the space, and this is something to keep an eye on. I've been talking about Grayscale for a while as a potential another major shoe to drop that could really cause a lot of the market to wash out even more, because if they start having to dissolve some of those Grayscale trusts, obviously they're gonna have to sell a ton of Bitcoin, and they're one of the largest holders. That being said, they don't actually have to sell that. There's something else that they can do. Ryan Selkis was talking about today that could save them. It's unconscionable in this environment that Digital Currency Group, aka Grayscale, has not applied for a Regulation M relief to allow GBTC shareholders to get their BTC out of the trust. Barry, it's time to leave. And this is something I didn't even know this existed. Go ahead and share this out. For context, GBTC, that's the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, that's their ticker, their shares are trading at a minus 40% discount. Retail investors are hurting, and Grayscale uses Coinbase as their custodian for its trust assets. It would take one click to convert GBTC to Bitcoin if Grayscale applied for regulation and relief. The odds of Grayscale winning its case versus the SEC in light of related party transactions with Genesis Trading, Genesis Capital, and at least two bankrupt counterparties, BlockFi and 3 Arrows Capital, are now zero. Delays in pursuing Regulation M program hurt shareholders while enriching DCG and Grayscale. What do you guys think about that? Or Drew, do you have any takes?
Yeah, I mean, like I came across the info that, DCG was the parent company of, I think it was 3 Arrows Capital. And, basically that Genesis had filed like a $1.2 billion claim against 3 Arrows Capital. So I know that they're involved. I really don't see Barry Silbert getting taken out or being insolvent. I think that he has enough connections in the financial world to make it work. But what Ryan is saying is accurate. I mean, that would be the right thing to do by people. Convert it out of the held trust and let them hold on and self-custody. It reinstill a little bit of more trust in the retail market, I think would be super important. Be awesome to see. I don't know if he's going to decide to do so or not.
So basically, if you're in if you bought into the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust right now, you'd have to be selling at minus 40%, basically at lower than the price of Bitcoin, which is again why it's always best if you're going to buy Bitcoin, buy and hold your own Bitcoin because you're always selling it on the free market. If you're custodying it yourself. Oh, wow. Well, if your girlfriend knows what multi-sig is, I don't think either one of you are dummies. So
your girlfriend sounds smart.
Yeah, I was going to say, your girlfriend sounds pretty smart.
That's a keeper.
Somebody else, Crypto Thorn, said, convinced my girlfriend to go on the cruise with me. Didn't tell her it was crypto related. That's so awesome. It's like, hey, babe, you want to go on a cruise? I have a really good idea. Like, oh, man, so generous. You're such a good boyfriend. Any further info into Silvergate? I haven't dug more into that. I'm still pulling on those threads. I feel like it's going to be hard to find. There was a question for Frankie. Do you think XRP has bottomed yet? I forgot. I lost it. But.
Yeah, no, I saw that too. I just want to point out, I think the dynamic between girlfriends and wives with their crypto boyfriends and husbands is hilarious because they all kind of suffer together. But yeah. I remember I was on a plane with Ben one time and this guy recognized Ben and his girlfriend was sitting there and she's like, this is why you always talk about crypto. Looking at Ben, it was the funniest thing. But do I think XRP has bottomed? Listen, I'm being pretty careful right now, to be 100% honest. If you tune into my live stream at 5:45, I'm going to be going over some seriously apocalyptic numbers, like worst case scenario type stuff for a lot of the altcoins and Bitcoin. I've kind of been talking about apocalyptic numbers for Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm going to look into that. But short answer is, with the news that we've been getting, and I just want to talk about kind of what we were saying earlier, where we're seeing Bitcoin kind of hold, right, with this horrible news. Yeah. Bitcoin's just kind of sitting there steady. And, I've kind of seen this. We've seen this happen recently. We saw kind of a decoupling. I don't really want to call it a decoupling, but we just seen the stock market, like the SPY got this big rip up a couple of days ago. And, I was kind of sitting there waiting for Bitcoin to try to follow suit. And, Bitcoin just kind of sat there. It didn't really follow. It hasn't really been moving inverse of the DXY as aggressively as it typically does. So maybe that is showing that Bitcoin's kind of, separating itself from the rest of the markets, which is interesting, especially with that news about, the stray missiles from Russia.
Those have been confirmed both locally and by the government at this point to have been local Ukrainian missiles. Drew got on that real quick.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So with news like that, I am being pretty careful. Also, the chart on Bitcoin does look pretty bearish, but we're going to look at some specific targets. I think if it's not bottomed, I do think we're pretty close. I'll say that. That's the short answer.
Yeah, well, we're going to look at some of that at the end. And for you guys who do trade a lot, I know we've got a lot of the Bit Squad in here, a lot of the Candle Mafia as well. I'm going to drop in the chat in here just a second a link to the BitGet trading competition. So right now we are trying. Obviously, a lot of people are hurting. A lot of people are down on money. It's time to grind, time to trade, try to earn that money back. Not in one trade. It's going to take a lot of trades. Don't start gambling and start YOLOing into stuff. But if you trade well, you have tight stop stop losses, good risk management. We're out there. BitGet has 100 Bitcoin prize pool for this competition. So we as a team we're going to hunt that out. And we're going to go after it. So I will drop that.
I just first time chat from I don't know how to say that name. But he says Frankie's so chill. Can't really see. It's freaking me out. Yeah. I haven't drank that Aztecian cactus moss water yet. I just got some my second cup of black coffee. But shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto, Chemistry Bro, Enzo Mining. I see you guys in here. And yeah, we're gonna crush this BitGet competition as well, guys.
Yeah, there it is. I just dropped the link in the chat. It says Hit Network Gaming. That's the account I'm signed into right here. But so if you guys want to join the Bit Squad, like I said, Frank and Candle Mafia combined, they just took down the prize pool for Femex. We're gonna hunt out getting this other one, and obviously the prize pool gets spread among everybody who trades, and the more you trade, you also get entered into other different things and stuff as well. So again, be careful. I wouldn't recommend this if you're brand new, but you get in his Discord, hang out with us, and you'll learn a lot about how to do well day trading even in sideways markets. So
absolutely.
Coming back to the Grayscale thing just briefly. I did want to touch on this. Actually, let me get you guys' take on this. I have a thought, but now we've got class action lawsuits filed against Tom Brady, Larry David, and anybody else. I'm sure Kevin O'Leary, anybody who was endorsing FTX. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that that should be the case? Do you blame the celebrities and the people doing this endorsements or not?
I wasn't ready to blame O'Leary until he came out and said that he would still back SBF on his next venture. And that just kind of instilled to me, wow, you are completely, this is wrong, and you're just lying to save face and to try to show a public sentiment that you still believe this has a chance to shake out in a good manner. I don't think that Tom Brady or Kevin O'Leary knew what was coming particularly. I don't think they would have put so much money into a system that they knew was going to crash on them. And have an accountability for what there wasn't much due diligence, if any, done. Whoa, right on the head. Yeah, the due diligence was like nothing basically for these massive loans to FTX and SBF. So that's just I think that a little bit of accountability, due diligence needs to be looked at here. It's a pretty big enchilada to just fall apart basically in front of everyone when you have the top athlete in the country. Think about how many NFL people saw Tom Brady and like, all right, finally, I believe in crypto. They go on FTX. Now this happens. They are never coming back, probably.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm kind of torn. I mean, these people obviously have some form of responsibility, but the thing is, it's like, especially with something like FTX, I mean, if I were to make a list of exchanges that I thought was going to go down, FTX would be so far down that list, being a US-based exchange. So to have these celebrities, at the time, it seems, kind of like, how would these celebrities actually know that, this is even a possibility? They probably have very little knowledge about crypto, especially the back end of it. They probably don't even understand that an exchange could collapse. So do they have a responsibility for what they promote? I do think so, but it's probably someone coming to that celebrity being like, hey, we got this brand deal, this is the amount of money, and they're not explained that, hey, if this goes down, you could be legally liable. I don't even think that's talked about at the time because it's just it's just negligence, but criminal negligence is a thing. So I'm kind of torn on it. I don't think anyone was being malicious, obviously, but if you don't put responsibility on somebody, nothing's gonna get improved. So.
Yeah, I agree 100% pretty much with what you're saying, Frank. I tend to not blame the people doing the sponsorship endorsements. It wasn't their job to vet the company. It was the SEC's. It was the regulators. They were the ones having the meeting with these guys. They were the ones they were the ones coming out giving everybody all the confidence. And the fact that they were so close with regulators is part of what people used as their reason to. I mean, that Kevin O'Leary's getting raked over the coals for it. He said, look, both of his parents are compliance attorneys. There shouldn't be any place that would be safer than that. Well, guess what? The truth is starting to come out here. That's the other thing. Like, Twitter has been completely. That was the other fun thing about Dave Portnoy's rant is obviously he follows a lot of crypto Twitter accounts because none of that stuff was getting reported on the mainstream media. So he's obviously in with the crypto news.
The celebrities probably got screwed over pretty bad too.
Oh, they did. You don't think they're pissed that their brand is damaged? You don't think they're not in recovery mode? You don't think they're losing money, other, investments and endorsements from this? Oh yeah, they got a lot of egg on their face. And that's why I don't blame the people endorsing the product. Like, yes, obviously at this point, hindsight's 2020. We feel bad that people lost money. We feel bad that people got hurt by this. But the people that are really responsible for the pain are SBF, Alameda, the ones that put them together, the regulators, the attorney, all of these people that were so close and had so many opportunities to do due diligence and just absolutely, failed at their charter. If you are the SEC, absolutely 100% failed.
Yeah, I would also like to say, back to the celebrities kind of taking responsibility. For me, doing YouTube and stuff, you kind of realize that, obviously, like TJ said, in hindsight, it's pretty clear, right? But when you're talking to people either online, on TV, you have an audience, right? Like, in the moment, you might be like, okay, like obviously FTX was not a shady company, so you would be okay supporting them, right? You think, all right, it's a legit exchange, it's based in the US, you support them. A lot of these people may have even had funds on it, right? Like even YouTubers, right? Like you might watch a YouTuber that's promoting, a project or some kind of a product that, and then as soon as something bad happens, people automatically think these people maliciously did it. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't take responsibility, but especially like on YouTube, right? If like something goes bad, people are like, oh, that person's a scammer, right? But like a lot of the times, like it's sometimes just honest mistakes. And again, responsibility is important, but a lot of times like those people got scammed and didn't realize like they got scammed too. It's not always like, I don't think these celebrities were like in on it. So it's just kind of like,
I'd be willing to bet Tom Brady lost more in FTX than almost anybody that signed up because of any of his ads.
Yeah. And you could guarantee he wasn't in on the scam. Right. So, I kind of have a soft spot for that kind of thing. Cause it's like, doesn't automatically, sometimes people just make mistakes and it doesn't make it good, but it also doesn't make them like an evil person that needs to be like punished by, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it.
No, I agree 100%.
The lack of regulation. I mean, when you brought that up, that's exactly what I feel like it was. Like everyone felt comfortable because they were connected to these, regulators in the family. And we have regulation by retroactive enforcement going on right now. It's a big gray zone that people and companies really don't understand what is and what is not allowed within the securities and CFTC oversight right now. It needs to be figured out pretty badly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of issues and a lot of lack of regulation. Now, I don't think regulation will be the end all be all that will save us, but the clear lack of oversight, and while they were sitting right there in the room, I think is what's so glaringly obvious to so many people when they're all over all these other people who are trying to follow all the laws, who are paying millions of dollars to disclose and to have the right attorneys and to do everything right in the United States. It's costing millions of dollars. And these people are just doing it, right in front of the regulators' faces. So, how do the commands work now?
Oh yeah.
For those in the chat, yeah. Are you getting all kinds of crazy sounds that we can't hear?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Who's yelling?
Okay. Who's getting jail time now? How much? And what's the time frame? I think I'll make this prediction. One person goes to jail. It's not SBF. Within the next year, and they get convicted of wire fraud. I think that's what it's going to be, and I don't think it'll be Sam, but I do think somebody will spend some time in jail for this. Maybe Sam does. Maybe he goes to a cushy prison for a year or two. The poker guy, yeah, Dan Feinberg. If that's kind of who I have in the back of my mind. Funny, on the morning stream today, we were talking about a lot of the issues that was going on with fake coins and synthetic assets and the way they were double dipping in pots all over the place and not doing the payouts correctly. And somebody's like, man, the same thing happened in the mid 2000s in the online poker scene. It's like, yeah, it happened by the same guy. Dan is it Friedberg? How do you say it?
Friedberg.
Friedberg.
I say it, yeah.
Wow.
Who was the head compliance officer for FTX? Is that correct?
I can't remember what his official title was.
Wait, were you talking about the Leonard Skinner song?
No, not Freebird.
Not
Freebird.
Oh, that was a good one, BJ.
A question from the chat earlier. Satoshi Glockamoto asked, "Hey TJ, I tried to get in during the BitBoy stream, but if exchanges can sell you synthetic coins, are the coins real once you withdraw to your wallet?"
Yeah, what they're doing, they can't sell you synthetic coins. Well, yeah, when you give them your coins, they can give you a synthetic representation, but then when you go to withdraw, they have to send you the real ones back. And that's the problem. When too many people start to withdraw and you've sold the same coin 4 times, that's what causes the issue that we're in right now. So once you have it in your own custody, if it's on the Bitcoin network and it gets transferred into your Bitcoin wallet, you have the coins, they're real, you have the private key, so you don't have anything to worry about. That's why we always say, not your keys, not your coins, self-custody your assets, because you will know which network it's on if it's in your wallet and in your custody. The problem is when it's on their exchange, you have no idea what's real and what's not, and they muddy the waters behind the scenes. They don't, they don't disclose properly. They're not required to right now, or at least the ones in the United States are, but they haven't given a clear framework to keep these businesses in the United States. That's the big problem with all of this stuff, is it's been happening in the Bahamas, and there's less regulation there. So, hey, look at that. They're working now. I feel
it seems like fractional reserve banking sped up with FTX's Adderall, basically. You just get to live the whole life cycle of fiat currency at light speed in crypto. And it looks like a bank run in the traditional sense. If everyone went to the bank today and withdrew their funds, by the time 20% of them showed up, the banks would be insolvent and we would have a collapse.
Be less than 20%.
Yeah, it could be like 5 and you'd hit that. So.
Within a day, the news would break and the whole, there was another tweet I saw today, people don't understand the world economy is just a giant FTX. That's really what's going on a global scale. There's all kinds of fake stuff it's just a big shell game.
The banks are real quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Banks aren't saying a whole lot
about
this.
Why is everybody mad?
Yeah. Why isn't JP Morgan coming down on this?
Rywin said, you think these guys will skate and it's an excuse to attack crypto with regulation? I kind of think so.
Yeah, they definitely will attack crypto with regulation. You're already hearing the sound bells of it. The problem is they've just blew up. They were trying to say, oh, you need centralized, centralized oversight. And they completely, general counsel. I looked up, it said he was, it did say regulatory officer as his actual role, Dan Friedberg for FTX. So the guy who's a known convicted criminal scammer was the head of regulatory officer for FTX. How is that not wait, alarm bells, wait a minute. We had cases against this guy. He was running a huge scam, cost a lot of people billions of dollars back in the 2000s. Maybe he shouldn't be your head regulatory general counsel legal advisor. Come on. Come on, Gary Gensler. Come on. That's so obvious. So yeah, the whole globe works that way, which I guess is why they're not scared. So yeah, banks quiet. They do fractional reserve banking. This is standard operating procedure for any investment bank, probably for a lot of hedge funds out there. So bottom line, people can't all withdraw at the same time. This is the dirty little secret within finance. It's been that way for a long time. Most of the value is all on paper, and they can come up with new ways to create paper value, and that's what makes you a star in the investing world. That's what happened in The Big Short. If you go back and watch it, the guy who came up with mortgage-backed securities, it started in the 70s. It didn't blow up till 2008, but it started in the 70s, and that guy was hailed as a genius for creating this. And then the more time that goes on, the bigger the Ponzi gets, and then boom, it collapses. And so we've seen this happen a lot of times. So to try to keep us on track a little bit here, Grayscale says their products are operating business as usual. So we were making that connection between Genesis, the loan officer, basically the loan bank, and Grayscale. So they say they're operating business as usual with the Genesis withdrawal. Grayscale has said that Genesis Global Capital is not a counterparty or service provider for any of their products. The statements come after Genesis Global Capital suspended withdrawals. So this, you lost my connection again.
Oh no.
Got me back.
Bueller?
No.
Bueller?
It's all right. I don't know why this keeps happening, but so that being said, we were talking about Bitcoin, Grayscale Trust, that to me, those are the two big things out there that could be stop loss hunted at this point, or really pressure put on. Would be Grayscale having to number one holder of Bitcoin at this point, MicroStrategy, another top, I think number one, I guess it's public, so it's not individual anymore. So they must be number 2 holder of Bitcoin behind Grayscale. Those are the two that I feel like are really have to be sweating, and I think they're starting to, because that's what marks a bottom. So I do think we are getting close to a bottom. It fits within the timeline. It's supposed to be within a few weeks of the midterm elections. We're hanging around it right now. We were looking at that with DZ the other day, as far as the days and all that kind of stuff. So this is where you're starting to see some of the top traders now. Gainsey, love him or hate him, he's a fun account to follow if you guys don't follow him. He he's big into sports betting these days, but he's a great trader. He's not gonna mince any words, so he'll definitely call you poor and stupid. Well, other people do that too. So depending how Bitcoin closes today, this is starting to look oddly not bearish. Genesis insolvent, dissolution of GBTC and ETH would nuke it though. So like basically that's what he's saying. If Genesis goes insolvent and they have to dissolve GBTC and basically ETH, which is those two trusts, it would nuke us to just ridiculous levels. But he was saying, like looking at this wick getting swallowed up isn't too bad. Like what do you see? Oop, let me see if I can zoom it out for you. Nope. See if I do that. There you go. Can you see that whole thing? What formation is that? Is this some kind of basically this support getting bought up really good? Is like wicking back up is part of what he's looking at?
What is that? The crashing tiger?
Yeah, it's the rare falling phoenix, very rare bullish pattern.
Yeah.
No, so typically when you do see long wicks on the lower part of the candle, it is a bullish sign. That's when you get like candlestick patterns such as a bullish hammer. You hear people talk about bullish hammer candles. But essentially any candle that has a long wick or a long tail, some people call it, on the bottom of the candle, that is basically what that shows is that bears tried to push that price all the way down, but the bulls just came and ate it all back up before the candle closed, creating that bullish candle. And a lot of times what those candles can do, now I don't know, that's the 2-day chart on the Binance. Typically when you see that, something like that on a 2-day chart would be somewhat of a bullish sign, because if you get that bullish candle on something like the 2-day, which is a pretty high time frame, it could indicate a trend reversal. Now, is that going to be the trend reversal that is the end of the bear market? Very hard to say, but if you close these bullish candles on a higher time frame, it could indicate at least some form of a decent trend reversal, even if it is not going to be the start of the new bull run or the end of the bear market.
Can't kill what's already dead.
That's right. I was talking about that too with Johnny in the office. I was like, he's like, dude, if we go to World War III, he goes, I don't even know if Bitcoin's going to react. Like, how much lower is it going to go? Right. It's just going to kind of dip a little bit. But yeah, it's crazy. There's also some potential bullish divergences on the weekly time frame, which I'll be covering more in depth. Also, somebody way earlier asked when my show starts. It's 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They said they were in Utah.
If you're not there, you're missing out.
Yes. You got to get in there.
You got to.
And somebody said, yeah, the Big Short producer working with SPF is crazy. If you're it's definitely true. Yeah, he's been following him around for 6 months because they were going to write another one. They just have a different ending to write right now. So not super well versed in GBTC. How is Grayscale making money if they aren't making a premium and BTC prices are down dramatically? They do make a premium when we're in a bull market. Right now, they're running a negative because prices are down so much. So that is how it works. Like people, when they were buying in, they were buying their shares, I think at like a 20, maybe even 40% premium at the top. Now we've just fallen so far, they're at a 40% negative, so people can't really sell out of it without just getting destroyed. So there is a premium there. And on TradingView, kind of to Frank's point, like this is where we were sitting. What are we looking at? This is the 15-minute. Let's pull this to something a little more
degenerate, like 1 second.
No, a little less degenerate. Let's see if we can collapse this a little bit. But basically, we were sitting up here this morning around, like we haven't really seen, we were sitting around 16.9 and we're only at 16.4 right now with some pretty dramatically what would normally be extremely bearish news. So I tend to think we're going to see less and less as the more of this rolls out as far as like price impact, kind of like what I think it was CZ was talking about in his space, that like when Terra Luna collapsed, you saw the worst price and the most dramatic volatility the night it happened. And, there were still cascading effects afterward. Can you come back to the cascading effects afterwards where that, yes, had negative price impacts. It is why we're here today, but they got smaller and smaller as time went on. And I think that's what's going to happen here. There's going to be FUD around some of these, or maybe it's not FUD. Maybe it's legitimately bearish news coming out, but bears are getting exhausted, I think is what we're seeing on the charts. You're losing your selling pressure. You're having, like, even though all these withdrawals to self-custody are in result of fear and wanting to protect your assets, it's also meaning people aren't going to sell those assets. We're creating a lot more long-term holders. We're going to look at a thing here from Raoul Powell in a minute that looks at users compared to network activity and liquidity and that sort of thing. It was a pretty interesting analysis that could also be indicating that we're about where we should be considering network activity and volume. So it's interesting. I'm starting to feel more and more, I'm not going to say bullish, but more and more confident that we're extremely near a bottom, and like we always say, accumulating in these ranges makes sense. I don't have Glassnode up right now, but I'm sure if we pulled up a lot of the top and bottom indicators, we're in accumulation zones on a lot of different levels. We can look at that again maybe later in the week, but I know we've got to be in the new pool and a lot of those things. So I'm starting, like I said, to be cautiously optimistic that we've seen max pain here very shortly. Don Alt is another account on Twitter. If you guys don't follow, he's a great trading account. Another guy who's been here a long time.
Cover photo.
Oh yeah, he's no joke. He's been. He used to. I don't know if he still does that. I guess he doesn't because this would be flipped. But back in the day, he used to have just a duck, and he'd flip it upside down when he was bearish. He'd flip it over up when it was bullish. He's been trading crypto for a long time. He's also not just a crypto trader. He has a good. What percentage of your portfolio is in BTC, ETH, and alts? I'd say I'm 85% BTC and ETH, and then maybe 15% alts, but really mostly cash right now. But just mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then some little things here and there.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that. I'm the same way. And speaking of accumulation zones, I said this on my live stream last night. I think, when the Celsius thing happened, I actually think I was talking to Drew. I just didn't feel that crazy panic of a bear market, that we typically see, and it just didn't feel painful enough to me. It just felt like a quick drop, and I just felt like the bear market was getting started. But I will say, after this most recent dump, you start seeing people are starting to come out being like, "See, crypto's dead. I told you." And that's what I was waiting for. That's why I didn't really feel so. It didn't feel so painful when the Celsius thing happened, because no one was really saying crypto was dead.
Yep.
But now you start seeing people come out. Crypto Twitter started getting pretty toxic. You start to see this stuff happen, and that is more indicative of a true bear market for me, and kind of indicates like, hey, time to accumulate. I've been accumulating slowly over the past few months, and just gradually starting to, slowly increasing my DCA, right? Yeah. So I started light, and then as we get drops down lower, I up the DCA values. But definitely, this is the time we wait for. You start hearing people saying crypto's dead. Now it's time to stick around and start accumulating, right? You want to be greedy when others are fearful, right? It's like one of the most simple, basic stock sayings ever, but it's so true.
One like social metric I like using is paying attention to when LinkedIn business professionals start bringing up Bitcoin unannounced. At the peak of the bull run, just LinkedIn was just covered in all these brand new business executives. All of a sudden, they're geniuses about crypto and everything. Now it's dead silent. You will not see a single post. So I'm going to be paying attention to LinkedIn, the business professionals.
Yeah, no, that's a good. You also, another thing you'll get is people that used to be your friends will call you up and start telling you, "Why did you get me to buy this crypto stuff? I hate you. I'm never talking to you again." Blah blah blah. So when your friends start running for the hills, when people that you convince this is the greatest thing ever start telling you like, "I think you're an idiot now," like we're near a bottom. Somebody Sax, you said you're late here. We did actually address that in the stream, so just keep watching. You'll hear that answer here shortly. Hardcore, R Wint says, "I'm a hardcore crypto guy," and even I'm like, "Fuck, this just got me into BTC only." LOL. Yeah, a lot of maxis being made out of this stuff. Bottom indicator for me, my private trading group had this happen. Dude quit and said crypto is dead. I bought. And then, you guys are doing points and all that stuff. Self-custody. So yeah, this is what Don Alt said, and it really rung true to me. And I tend to, a lot of times that I read his tweets, they tend to it's confluence with what I'm already feeling. So last time the bottom was marked by cascading liquidations of users. Is this time going to be marked by cascading liquidations of platforms? It sure feels that way. And that it does. It feels that way dramatically. That last time it was, people getting into leverage, ICOs going bust, people leverage trading going bust, people getting liquidated, people getting stop loss hunted, and then, just killing the liquidity and the money flowing into the market. This time feels like it was institutional money. They propped it up, and we're just seeing it get wiped out time and time again. I truly think this is the market we saw institutions really had a handle on it. So if like last time it was a lot more retail, we saw an ICO thing and we saw some international money start flowing in, but US institutions, I think, started getting involved in the 2018, 2019 bull market, and the 2020 and 2021 run up we saw was the result of all of their bear market building that collapsed completely by the time we got into another bear market. I think this bear market, we're seeing the entrance of nation states, and they play way dirtier than we thought institutions play dirty. Nations play way dirtier, and they're flexing their muscles, I think, right now on institutions, shaking the institutions out, because nations are here to play for the next bull run. That's
Absolutely.
what I think. Yeah.
That's such a good point. Like, wait till you see what bonds and treasuries can do when they want to get some things done.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
What do you think Janet Yellen is hawking around the situation so concisely right now? If you go look at Janet Yellen's recent call for regulation crackdown.
G Gust, is it safe to leave my HBAR on crypto.com, or should I put it on my ledger? I would not leave any funds on crypto.com right now. Call it FUD, call it whatever you want. There was some weirdness going on this week on it, and if there's any weirdness going on any exchange whatsoever, pull it off. It's not that hard. Yeah. Again, if you have the slightest, if you're asking that question, you know the answer. Take it off. Or if you don't care about losing it, then who cares? But you know, if it's $50, if it's some minuscule amount to you, sure, leave it on there, risk it, you know, gamble. But it's not a good bet, I would say, at this point. Not to FUD crypto.com. Hopefully, I hope no more exchanges go insolvent.
Right.
I've woken up to an insolvent exchange almost every day this week. Custody your own funds. It's not that hard. We've got a lot of videos that teach you how to do it. Is Kathy Woods legit, or is she just gonna get wrecked? Seems legit. You know, these days it's hard to know whose intentions are where. She seems authentic, in my opinion, but who knows?
I just don't like her glasses. I can't.
Yeah, she buys tops.
Yeah,
I'll give her,
and she buys tops. So isn't she in biotech though?
So
I'm
she
trying to
bought
look at the
Caroline?
positive. Oh,
I would say she buys tops, so she probably is one of us. Yeah. She buys when retail buys.
I saw Manawalk said, "Hey Frankie, how are those Solana buy orders doing?" Wrecked. Yeah, can't really predict this kind of stuff. I'll pull it up. Let me see. I'll come back with it. But I'll see what those buy orders, what they hit. I had a KuCoin trading bot, DCAing into Solana, which I actually haven't even looked at it. I just, it got wrecked. It's probably almost at zero. But I'll check on it for you. They're definitely wrecked. I'm gonna bring that up on my stream tonight and just sulk a little bit.
Well, like I was mentioning, Don Alt is an account I really pay close attention to. Before he said that other tweet, he tweeted this: started buying BTC for the long term, 1 year plus. Oh, toast again. Hold on.
Toasted.
Maybe it's when I minimize it. I don't know. It says one connection. It needs to be two. Oh, 3 connections. You got me now.
Say
down 60% on those Solana buys, just so you guys know.
I'll just slide this over here. Yeah. So he was talking the other day about long-term versus short-term buys. Obviously, if you're holding for 1 year plus, it has a different tax benefit in short-term versus long-term. So he said, started buying BTC for the long-term 1 year plus. The market cap of BTC is now low enough for me to largely ignore macro at this point. Yes, everything looks like shit, but I'm willing to bet prices are going to be higher in 1 to 5 years. Last time I quote unquote invested, meaning holding for long term, was around 1K. Hope it goes well. Like I said, very good trader, trades with a lot of volume, and he's been doing this a long time. So, I just put a lot of weight on what he says. He said, if you're smart and patient, you wait for BTC to reclaim 20 on the weekly, BCC to hit 12 to 14, BC to form a bullish structure. Everything else is aggressive. I like to do the aggressive from time to time. I'll decide what to do in the next couple of days. So this is kind of his basic strategy, meaning like this is technically the smartest thing to do if you're a trader. Wait for all of these things to occur. Form a bullish structure before you start really going in with weight. You want to start seeing bullish structure. You want to see something hit that bottom call range that everybody's looking for. You want to see it reclaim a really tough resistance going back up, and then boom, all in money in the market. If you're looking for your all in moment, this is your recipe right here. If all of this happens, it's pretty much a slam dunk trade. Everything else he's saying is aggressive, and it sounds like here he's thinking about being aggressive. That was November 15th. This morning he came out and said he's starting to buy. And then, like I said, this was the other tweet that we looked at. And I just agree with the same sentiment. I've been feeling very similar. And then the other thing I wanted to look at, this was just more, where did it go? His take on, Michael Saylor tweeted this: Satoshi had a beautiful dream of a world where we don't need to trust banks or store our life savings in collapsing fiat currencies. He said, yeah, Satoshi has a beautiful dream of a world where we don't need to trust banks and store our life savings in collapsing fiat currency. Said we can sort it in a rapidly collapsing cryptocurrency. But this was another pretty good video of Saylor speaking to a guy on Fox about all this stuff going on. We can, have you guys seen this yet? You want to watch it real quick?
I have not seen that.
I'll pull it up. We'll watch it. I was watching this right before.
Target for the media. Well, my next guest has made what you would call a huge bet on Bitcoin, and for that reason, he frightens the establishment, and he's been an easy target for the media whenever there's a hiccup in the crypto world. Of course, this FTX episode is a lot more than that, right? It's an earthquake with ramifications far and wide.
So here's another one. Like Dave Portnoy, Michael Saylor been under extreme scrutiny for anything with crypto, with digital assets, anything he said about it. He's been a lot of pressure from regulators, whereas Sam and gang completely none at all. So.
To the whole thing, all crypto. Joining me now, MicroStrategy Executive Chairman Michael Saylor. Michael, I cannot help but think if Sam Bankman-Fried had gotten the kind of scrutiny that you've had to deal with your entire career, this thing would have never happened. But he's an Ivy League insider. They rolled out the red carpet for him. They put him on a pedestal. And now we're all wondering just how much we have been fleeced. Any idea yet?
It's quite the story, Charles. FTX, they created a few tokens like FTT and Serum. They promoted a few tokens. They transferred the tokens to Sam's hedge fund, Alameda. And since the supply was largely in friendly hands, they were able to manipulate the price of those tokens up through insider wash trading. They eventually got it up to $14 billion in accounting value through sleight of hand. And of course, normally the cynical Bitcoiners think, these crypto casinos are just manipulating the price of the token up to dump it in retail. But Sam came up with a particular diabolical twist to the entire thing, which is he didn't just create $14 billion of air tokens through insider trading. He actually posted them as collateral and then went shopping for a $10 billion loan from a bank against the air tokens. And the only bank that he could find that would give the loan was his own bank. So he applied for the loan. He granted himself the loan, and then he very quietly, in a duplicitous fashion, siphoned off $10 billion or more of real assets out of FTX into Alameda, where they proceeded to spend the money on politicians and lobbying and stadium rights and advertisement and celebrity endorsements and condos in the Bahamas. And then they traded a bunch and made a bunch of bad trades, and then they lost the money. And, here we are. It's just a really tragic situation.
It really, really is. And we always say this when these things start, that we hope we get to the bottom of it. I really, truly, truly am desperate to get to the bottom of this because I think it stinks, and I think a lot of important people might have been able to help us out before then. Of course, though, that brings us to now the world again saying that the entire crypto experiment has failed, in part because the free money is drying up. Now this FTX incident, the final nail in the coffin. But you still believe. Tell us why you are still so wedded to this idea that Bitcoin is the answer.
Look, Satoshi had just a beautiful vision, a beautiful dream, and that was, what if we didn't have to trust the banks, whether it's a conventional bank or a crypto bank, and what if we didn't have to save our life savings in a fiat currency that's collapsing in value? And so, Bitcoin is the world's most powerful computing network. It's got 270 exahash of computing power, and it's got 10 gigawatts of energy backing it. It means you don't have to trust the FTXs of the world. So, yeah, I am a big believer because I believe that although crypto in this case may have been the problem, Bitcoin is still the solution.
Yeah, we can stop it there. If you haven't heard his takes on Bitcoin before, obviously he's a big advocate. He's one of us when it comes to believing in Bitcoin. Leans on the maximalist side. I don't know if he would call himself a maximalist or not. He definitely, when we interviewed him, I'd say a year or two ago, wouldn't say that he only owned Bitcoin. Obviously, number 2 holder of Bitcoin as far as known entities, public entities. So top holder of Bitcoin. I would be shocked if he didn't at least hold a little bit of Ethereum, but definitely is probably feeling much safer in being in Bitcoin than being in other things right now. So just wanted to point that out. I felt like, and whoever, Grant Gustafson on YouTube, I saw your comment there that you were that other username. So Grant Gustafson, I see you a lot in the YouTube chat. So welcome to the basement. We are glad you're here, along with R. Wintz, Urkelson, Shump Assassin, Satoshi Glockamoto, Casino Doggy, and I'm sure I'm going to read off one of these.
Shump Assassin.
Shump Assassin.
I love
you know what that is? Does that mean something to you,
I don't
Drew?
know. No.
I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah, I was like, the way you said it, I was like, what is that, a thing? Or like,
it just sounded cool. Rolled off the tongue.
I just love that the basement always feels like they're neglected on the morning show, and now they have their own show.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. Paid off.
Yeah.
I like this comment from Mr. Techno Goody. I think one of the interesting points about the Hussein interview today, the transparency of the blockchain allowed the exposure of what FTX Alameda was doing, difficult/impossible in TradFi.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally
and we
agree.
do have new tweets from Sam as we had the ones last night. I think he tweeted truth and golly, this is such a rant. I don't even want to read this.
Maybe he'll just give us one letter of the bio of Hillary
Shrapnel.
Clinton's.
Last word is shrapnel.
Shrapnel.
Tweeted 22 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
We're feeling that. Yeah, it's what Saylor said about, like the FTX does this huge scheme. They're funneling money into their political interest. Well, they did all that. That's all exposed. But guess what? We get to deal with the ramifications of all of that funny money being sent to those specific political spots for years on end now. So this should be taken very seriously.
Everything in this thread is stuff that we read in his letter to the team in the middle of last week. So this is all stuff that we already knew. And they're really just trying to spin this like a big mistake. And
Who is Autism Capital?
I think it's Sam.
That's what people say.
Yeah, I think it's Sam.
My guess is at this point, Autism Capital there's rumors that it started as part of Alameda Research, or was run by a group of different people that were trading. And I think it's a funny thing when they're trading and they're doing all this different stuff. I think it is them. I don't think it's actually Sam doing those tweets right now. It feels like people that were close.
Yeah.
That want to break all the news now because they were in the dark and they got screwed by all this, ex-FTX employees, ex-Alameda traders, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because they commented on his shrapnel tweet, said 24 tweets and still no responsibility.
Yeah. No, they haven't necessarily been kind to him, and they're breaking a lot of really kind of good information. So I don't think it's him necessarily, but I do think it's people close, and maybe it was him at one point, but, who knows? If SBF had followed Frankie Candles, he would have made a ton of money of this degenerate leverage trading, and we would all be fine. Yeah,
I know.
That'd be great.
Just use
SBF
Frankie.
should have just stuck to
All your
the leverage
algorithms
trading
and stuff, Just
somebody Rye Wintz asks, Frankie, did you sell the top? I assume you mean the top of the bull market. I sold on the way up. I didn't sell the exact top, but I still held some. There was some ETH and that I held all the way down. I sold most of it, but I still hold some. Rode it all the way down. Only thing I did not take profit on this past bull market was my XRP. I rode it up, or as up as it went, and now I'm still holding it. So sold on the way up. Ladder out. That's what I always say. You want to just have your prices and just slowly ladder out as you go up, because it's much harder to call the top than people think it is.
Yeah. When I sold a small portion at the top, I thought it was the biggest mistake of my life. I had to buy a minivan because I had so many kids getting born. And I was like, this is just a huge mistake. This is ridiculous. It was a good move.
A couple of quick breaking stories. We've got one. Where to go? Boop. Breaking SEC Chair Gary Gensler in a corner as Congress seeks answer over the FTX mess, which is good, as he should be. And breaking FBI to extradite SBF from Bahamas to the U.S. And I do want to give a shout out. Satoshi Stacker, great account with all this information. They've had a lot of very up-to-date, very good breaking information. We did hear about this, I think, end of the day yesterday, beginning this morning, but it sounds like they are trying to extradite him back into the United States. Things will start to unfold, I'm sure, more next week. But real quick, before we wrap up, here's a look at the Bitcoin price for those that are holding 16.5 pretty strong, for those of you wondering. I wanted to look at this thing from Raoul Powell. It was a pretty interesting take on pricing and the pricing model. You can see here, obviously, it's pretty, following pretty closely. A little bit of math involved here, so don't get hung up on that, guys. But just an update to my Metcalfe's law model for BTC. Metcalfe's law is the one that what seems like the most likely usually is. Is that Metcalfe?
I'm not sure.
No, that's Occam's razor. Metcalfe's law. Let's look that up. I think that's the law of doublings and halving.
No,
states that a value of a telecommunications network is proportional to
network
the
effects.
square
Yes.
of the number of connected
Every time you add a new
users.
user to a network, the number of connections increases proportionally to the square number of users. So, yeah, Metcalfe's law states that the value of a telecommunications network is proportional to the square number of the connected users. So,
reasonable.
Yeah, network effects, basically, if you hear people talking about that. Just an update to his Metcalfe's law model for BTC. The model is total dollar value exchanged monthly times number of active users has a correlation of 97% to the total market cap. So if we're looking here, this is the total. This looks like Bitcoin market cap, not total crypto market cap. But you can see it's very proportional as it plays out here. Network activity peaked in 2020 and again in 2021 and has been drifting lower. The slow trajectory and decline network activity is why this liquidity cycle correction in magnitude has so far been the previous examples. I'm so pissed at this thing. It also prices the network correctly in value versus 2018, which again, this thing isn't really, you guys aren't tracking with me on my screen, but that graph below shows, and I have no idea why this is happening with VMix. It just drops that connection, but that graph shows in 2018, tracking along with it very well. Note how a big number of active users was in 2018 and the number who left in 2019. So we got 2018 right here. Active users fell off a cliff. Remember we were saying there was nothing happening in 2019. Nobody was doing anything. Nobody was trading. Here's 2019. They start coming back in 2020 up this channel here. This bear market is very different as users have remained broadly stable as deeper adoption takes hold versus pure speculation. The total value transacted is down as bigger institutional players remain on the sidelines, but on average, it's remained around peak 2018 levels, which is what we've seen when we're looking at the total crypto market cap. So again, if we look at this chart here, I don't know if it, oh, golly, what's going to be, can you kill us for a second or hide us for a second? Okay. Oh, nope. I mean, I need to see my computer with no, not us in the box.
No humans?
No humans. Because this is getting cut off just slightly, but basically you can see back, well, you won't even be able to see it anyway, but basically here's where, if you can see my mouse, this is the 2018 levels on the left side of that graph. You just can't see it. So if you drag over, we're still hitting similar levels of volume to that 2018 level. It's obviously ebbing and flowing a little bit, and that's what he's referring to there. Total value transacted is down as bigger institutional players remain on the sidelines. When liquidity returns, which is what we're seeing right now, we're literally seeing the liquidity getting sucked out of the market, right. Which I think makes the case even stronger for that 10K price that a lot of, or 10 to 12, 12 to 4, 10 to 14 that a lot of people are talking about. When liquidity returns, the biggest driver of institutional allocations, meaning liquidity, the value of the network should rise, which then brings in more investors, or vice versa. Number of investors rising will bring in more institutions, which creates a multiplier effect, giving exponential returns. In bear markets, the value transacted goes down, but the number of active users remains more elevated, ongoing adoption. When adoption rises, users times value rises, prices go exponential due to the mathematical multiplier, which I agree with this breakdown very, very well. I think it's a big part of why we're sitting at the 2018 levels. It's part of why we're getting close to bears exhausted. So it'll just be interesting as this liquidity continues to get sucked out to see if it continues to track along this pace. But I mean, again, looking at the way it's tracked price-wise to the network model, it's tracking very, very, very closely since looks like 2010. Might be a new model to keep an eye on. Yeah. Obviously, Raoul Powell from Real Vision, somebody that an ex-Goldman Sachs guy, hasn't nailed all of his predictions, but very smart guy, very good at analyzing markets. So
I like Raoul Powell. He has nuanced opinions. Like, he takes in information. He doesn't stick hard-sided to one side of the coin that he was calling, a year or two ago. He takes new information in and readjusts his outlook moving forward. I really enjoy what he coming out with, especially.
He's rational, and like you said, he gets new information. He recalculate.
Yeah,
which is like people hate when you do that, but it's like it's literally like anti-intellectual. To not take that new information and come to new conclusions. So yeah, I like him for the same reason. Super level-headed, logical thinker.
Yeah. Do you guys think that when all this plays out and various bad actors named, that it will influence more average Joes into crypto, seeing that the fiat banking system is so corrupt? From Casino Doggy, what do you guys think?
Man, the hope in me wants to say yes. Like I hope that people find that in a perfect world, people would be able to see that New Genesis was able to track this direct fraud, and that the blockchain was able to prove these things and use it to empower people with transparency and the money that's backing what they put their whole life savings into. We have generations that saved $200K and thought that they were going to be set, and now they're like, do I have to go back to work to retire? So I think that what Michael Saylor was saying will also play into it, knowing that the money backs your assets up. That's going to be important.
Also, I mean, like, the bad actors come out, right? You have these exchanges going down. It's likely going to bring regulation, which I think will obviously bring much more retail. So yeah,
I'm going to go with the average. No, the average Joe won't see crypto. The average Joe is going to hear crypto's a scam. Tons of people lost billions of dollars on it.
Yeah.
And and if they're people that aren't in crypto yet, they actually kind of want to hear that.
Yeah.
Because they've been hearing about crypto for a while. And then when they hear, a lot of people lost a bunch of money. Oh, see, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't have invested in that. I knew I shouldn't have learned about that. It's a scam, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I think that, unfortunately, is going to be the general take. When crypto comes back, that's when we're going to see, when people, they're going to hear Bitcoin's dead, crypto's dead. And then 2 years from now or a year and a half from now, they're going to be like, wait a minute. Pushing all-time highs?
Yeah. Why is it back?
I thought it was dead.
Yeah.
And then that's when you see the big influx. That's when the average Joe wakes up each cycle. Unfortunately, it's not right now. That's what we want. Tell your friends. Now's the time. Between now and this time next year is probably the #1 opportunity for you to be accumulating and investing and learning what to accumulate. By the time the price is pushing all-time highs again, unfortunately, you've missed your best opportunity at that point. So
it's the brutal truth.
I do want to keep us moving along. Also, first-time chat from CZ Arc Sam too.
Hey.
Don't spend what you can't afford to lose. Having said that, I feel bad for everyone involved. Yeah, that's a really good take. But real quick, want to wrap this up with one last little thing from our buddy Mark Moss. Another great channel for you guys to watch. He has a really good handle on macroeconomics. Obviously, a crypto channel. Bitcoin. He's pretty much Bitcoin only, I would think, at this point. But he's one of the maxis we really like, and he's a nice guy, really good guy. Knows a lot about real estate as well. And he's a good dirt bike rider, good dad, surfer. He's just cool.
Yeah.
So go watch his channel.
What's Unky Klaus doing now?
Yeah, exactly. While the world is watching crypto melt down, this guy, Klaus Schwab, and somebody has said it earlier in the chat, why do all these guys have such close ties to the WEF, Global World Economic Forum, and global leaders? So while the world is watching crypto melt down, this guy, Klaus Schwab, an undetected leader of unelected leader of no nation, is presenting to the G20, instructing the top global leaders how the world would be restructured or reset. So let's hear what he has to say.
If you look at all the challenges, we can speak about a multi-crisis, an economic, a political, a social, an ecological, an institutional crisis.
Like crisis is your hairline.
But actually, what we have to confront is a deep, systemic, and structural restructuring of our world. And this will take some time. And the world will look differently after we have gone through this transition process. Politically, the driving forces for this political transformation, of course, is the transition into a multipolar world, which has a tendency to make our world much more fragmented. And for these reasons, events like this one, the G20, and so on, are the very important connectors to avoid too great segmentation.
And the video ends before he says "Hail Hydra."
I was gonna say, somebody said that at the beginning, like "F this Hydra bitch," you know, like if that doesn't sound like a Bond villain to you guys, I don't know what does. Like it's ridiculous. And then here's one more fun thing. It's another fun account to follow on Twitter is Clown World Today. YouTube marks the official World Government Summit video about a new world order as spreading as a conspiracy theory. So here it is, literally World Government Summit 2022. It's happening. It's posted on YouTube. The title is, "Are we ready for a new world order?" This is a video they uploaded, and YouTube, according to Wikipedia, the new world order is a conspiracy theory which hypothesizes a secretly emergent totalitarian world government. It's not a secret, guys. They're on the stage. Look at it. World Government Summit. It says it right there.
Yeah, they
That's
put this
hilarious.
in full sight for everyone. Like, go look up Operation Lockstep. Go read Operation Lockstep. You can read Operation Lockstep today, and then look back at the last 3 years. And then things will kind of click.
A lot of chat people in the chat. He's behind most of the challenges or crises, as he says. Most of what we're facing today, he has had a hand in creating. Didn't Klaus gloat about having influence in Canada and Brazil? Absolutely. They're very. Justin Trudeau is right out of the World Economic Forum's classrooms. He's basically was brought up from birth to be a proponent of the World Economic Forum's agenda. A lot of the people that we see stepping into power these days have extremely close ties to the World Economic Forum, including SBF, including a lot of people involved in finance around the world and moving money, discreetly or maybe criminally around the globe into different people's pockets and hands. TJ, have you heard about Coinbase asking users to verify the identity to initiate withdrawals to cold storage? No, that doesn't surprise me. That's a pretty safe way for them to slow down withdrawals. And they're pretty KYC heavy anyway. So
they are.
I'm pretty sure
if you haven't KYC'd, you can't.
Yeah, if you haven't KYC'd, you can't withdraw to begin with, I would think. But, that being said, these guys are out here pulling all the strings when the world feels like it's burning around you. Klaus Schwab, like Mark Moss pointed out, completely unelected, completely sketchy history. We've done channels on the BitBoy Crypto channel, so go search WEF, go search Great Reset. We've done a lot. Money is the number one tool that the elites have to control people, so there's no question money, central currencies, digital currencies, CBDCs, that's all going to be part of this Great Reset. They need the global economy to function more efficiently. They need to be able to transfer funds around the world more efficiently so they can keep the shell game going. That's the problem. If everybody starts to withdraw over here, we need to shuffle really fast so we don't run into a liquidity crisis. So just so you guys know, the liquidity crisis that the crypto market is facing right now is the same liquidity crisis big banking was facing in the end of 2019. That's why they printed money like crazy. That's why they set up new credit swaps. That's why they're doing CBDCs, because they have no money. And they have to create it on paper and justify it in a lot of different ways. So again, we'll wrap this show up saying, if you think this FTX collapse was bad, just know the global economy is just one big FTX. And it's all corrupt. There's power players everywhere. There's backdoor deals everywhere. And not the kind you're thinking of, BJ.
What?
Anybody got any final takes before we leave? Or are we going to do a raid?
Yeah, if you guys want to, World Economic Forum is my whole jam. That's like, so get
Should we do a special episode on WEF, guys, and let the friendly Drew neighbor rant for a while?
Yes. I'll give you one heck of a
I
rant.
vote yes.
Yes, I vote yes.
Get at me on Twitter. If
There you
got
go.
questions, at Drew Weidert.
Corey Harden asked if we could read his conspiracy. He said, FTX is obviously an undercover agent, with the fall of FTX being the plan the whole time. They dragged celebrities with huge followings like Brady to cause distrust among the U.S. population in regards to crypto.
Yes, there is a good SBF is a Fed theory as well. I think there's too much political fallout from the way this went down to say this was part of the plan. There's too much very clear connections to people in Washington. I think they'd be smarter about it if it was going to go down this way. But yeah, same as a Fed is definitely a clear take that I can listen to and we can definitely talk about on this show, on this channel. We love you guys. Shump Assassin, Chef Crypto, Urkelson, Razmataz, Kenitosis, Chef Crypto, Casino Doggy, Hodgepodge 2, Enzo Mining, Riddle with Puns, Ripple, Bobby, XRP, Johnny Fang. Do they think CZ had 500 million in FTT? Don't think they thought Oh, they knew he did. He
he
took
did.
it as an equity deal instead of dollars when they invested at the beginning. It's a whole nother thing. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be rating Hit Gaming. If you guys love the game, hang out with Joel. Be nice to him. Ask him a lot of fun questions. Tell him he's pretty. Never mind. We'll leave that alone. Talk to you guys later. We love you.
See you guys.
Stay safe out there.
Later.
Wait, what?